Gilbert Burns is the kind of guy that you want to root for in life. Neck and neck with Stephen Thompson as the nicest guy in the welterweight division, Gilbert Burns has also always been a great balance between natural given talent and hard work. And if you want to understand just how well Gilbert Burns is regarded by his peers in the fight game, understand that even Colby Covington refers to him by his real name. But through a series of bad decisions and inconsistent performances, Gilbert Burns has never quite lived up to his full potential. And when Gilbert literally snatched defeat from the jaws of victory when he fought Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 299, that was the last little bit of inspiration I needed to make this video. Going into that event, I was listening to commentator after commentator effectively predict that Jack Della Maddalena was going to steamroll Gilbert Burns. But when I really looked at both guys and their record and what they're capable of, I knew that that was probably a mistake, and that Gilbert had the talent and the ability to beat Jack. And as it turns out, I was right, because up until the last 90 seconds, Gilbert was on his way to easily securing a 30-27 or a 29-28 decision over Jack. But then Gilbert, who mind you is a world champion grappler, decided to make a very amateur mistake and allow Jack to escape the position that he had him secured in, which of course then led to him getting finished. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact mistake that Gilbert Burns made in slow motion, because when you see it like that, it's even harder to believe that he actually did it. But before I get to all that, if you appreciate the effort that goes into these videos, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel for the future. Every time somebody does that, it motivates me to get to work and put more videos out, so I thank you in advance for the support. And if you want to go to any of the key segments within the video, I always timestamp those down in the progress bar. Now, to be fair to Jack, I saw the reports while I was filming this today that it looks like he broke his arm early in the fight with Gilbert. Sometimes when that happens in a fight, you can tell that a fighter is reacting differently and they're not throwing things as much, but there really wasn't anything of significance like that with Jack in this fight, and I'm going to address this whole issue more specifically towards the end of the video. Now, in terms of the fight itself, Gilbert was obviously getting the better of the grappling side while Jack was getting the better of the striking. I don't think that was any surprise. Most people probably expected that was going to be the case. But the ultimate question was, who was going to be able to impose their game plan the most? And obviously the answer to that question was Gilbert. So in the third round, Jack was really starting to pull ahead in the striking. And while Gilbert was at least being competitive with the stand-up early on, and obviously he broke Jack's arm with a hard kick in the first round, he really couldn't seem to get anything going striking-wise in the third round, so he went back to the grappling. And once again, he was pretty dominant with it, essentially controlling Jack and preventing him from doing anything. So around the 2-minute mark, it looks very clear that Gilbert Burns is going to cruise to a decision win based on the grappling and based on controlling Jack and holding him down. Gilbert continues to sort of advance his top position. He's got Jack all tied up. Jack can't move. You can see it on his face. And then out of nowhere, Gilbert makes an unbelievable mistake that not only costs him the fight, but also gets him brutally knocked out. On top of that, I would argue that it pretty much effectively ended Gilbert Burns' career in terms of being a serious contender in the division. So let's review the couple of moments when all of this took place. I've already been showing images of the round up until this point, but here on the screen you can see a couple of the different screenshots from right before the mistake that Gilbert made. And you can tell from this that with 1 minute and 48 seconds left, Jack is really stuck. He looks hopeless on his face. If you watch a video of this, you can see him looking up at the clock multiple times. And I feel like at this point, he pretty much knows the fight is over and he's probably going to lose a decision. And if Gilbert had just kept his dominance in this particular position, that's exactly what would have happened. But now I want you to watch the massive amateur error that Gilbert Burns makes for no reason at all that allows Jack to escape. So what you're looking at is a dramatically slowed down version of the moment. And again, obviously Gilbert has him wrapped up. Jack can't go anywhere. And I want you to watch as Gilbert does a hard forward push off of the fence for absolutely no reason, unless he intended to try to finish the fight somehow, which he did not need to do because he was cruising to a decision win. And that push that he makes destabilizes his top control and gives rolling momentum to Jack that he uses to flip out of the position. And again, as I'm watching it here, it's just so frustrating for somebody who is a world champion grappler to make this sort of an error. But the hard reality, guys, with this fight, despite the arm break or whatever might have happened there, Jack Della Maddalena did not win this fight. Gilbert Burns lost this fight. And like I said earlier, I think this really was the end of Gilbert Burns' career in terms of being any sort of serious contender in the division. He's shown too many times now that he's just not the guy who can win in the big moments, and that is usually the exact thing that separates people like himself from those who go on to be greats and to be great champions. Now, before I wrap this up, I do want to say I don't think there's a lot of evidence now that I've gone back again and watched some of this fight that Jack's arm injury really played any sort of significant role in his overall performance. If you watch the beginning of the third round, Jack is very aggressive in throwing punches with his left arm just as much as he is with his right arm, and there's absolutely no way to tell at all that that arm might be bothering him, much less be broken. Also, you can see later in the fight when Gilbert is grappling him that Jack is posting on that left arm and putting his full weight on it, which is another indication that it was not bothering him enough to significantly change his performance ability. The only part of the fight that I could say made it a little bit obvious is that in the last minute, when he's finishing Gilbert Burns with punches, he only throws that left arm one time, and he probably throws the right arm 15 to 20. So I don't think it's fair to Gilbert, even though he messed this whole thing up all on his own, to take anything away from him based on Jack's arm injury because it did not seem to impact his performance, and it was Gilbert's powerful kick in the early part of the fight that caused it anyway. All right, folks, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a like. Also, subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. And as always, please leave your thoughts and comments down below and let me know what you thought about this fight and what you think after seeing these clips. I always look forward to reading that. Thank you as always for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and talk to you soon.